the last 7 years, I've told my bike fit clients the same thing. Keep your saddle level or maximum 2 degrees nose down. That's what I was taught when I did my bike fit courses. That's what I read in the textbooks. That's what I see promoted on the internet. And that's what many of the bike fit gurus are still saying.
In my opinion, anywhere between 0 and 4 degrees down is where your saddle should be.
The best angle to have these things on is where the front half of the seat is level or very, very close to level.
What we're looking for is for the seating area to be flat. We do not want a slope.
I use this philosophy with nearly all of my bike fit clients over that period of time, and I set my own bikes up using that advice. It made sense. If you want to sit in a stable position on a saddle, make it level. Then you won't go sliding off forwards and have to keep pushing yourself back up the hill. But a few months ago, I had an epiphany, a realization that I'd been missing something very important. From this moment on, I completely threw that advice out the window. Now my own bike saddles are set up in a way that would have made the old me spit out my coffee. Here's how 2 titanium hip replacements completely changed how I think about saddle angle for myself and my clients, and why you might want to rethink it too. I've done fits for weekend warriors, serious racers, and cyclists who just want to ride without their knees and spine aching. And one variable has always been consistent, the saddle angle rule. Keep it flat, or just a touch nose down, but no more than 2 degrees. Of course, this will depend on the shape of the saddle, but let's assume we're talking about relatively flat saddles with minimal curvature. I genuinely thought this was just the way it was. And the reason it was so ingrained is because this is what felt best for me. But I'd fallen into an old and common business trap thinking that my wants and needs were exactly the same as my customers. In many ways they were. I'm middle-aged, fairly fit, I race a little bit, but mostly I just enjoy training with my mates. But in one key way, I'm very different to most of my clients. Due to long-standing, fairly severe hip arthritis that's plagued me all of my adult life, I just can't bend at the hips. When I ride, I'm forced to sit up tall because my hips won't let me lean forwards. It's just not an option. And a flat saddle suits this riding position perfectly. It supports me in a fairly upright, stable riding position, and it's the best option for me. After many years of worsening discomfort, I just couldn't put up with my hip pain anymore. I've now had both sides replaced. My left one in November 2024 and my right one early in 2025. And suddenly, within a few weeks of the second hip replacement, I had so much extra flexibility. I could lean forwards more. My hips had a normal range of motion again. Afterwards, positions on the bike that had eluded me for years were back on the menu. I could ride in the drops. I could bend my elbows to get my chest lower. And I could hit my elbows with my knees. I'd found Aero-Topia. The problem was, this position on a flat saddle just feels awful. I was getting fully squished at the front of my pelvis. Fully squished. Now the saddle position and the saddle contact pressure were blocking me from leaning forwards, not the hip arthritis. If you follow my channel, you'll know that I like making big changes in the pursuit of discovery. 2 years ago, I changed from 175mm cranks to 160mm cranks, which gave me awesome comfort and performance benefits. If you're interested, check out my shorter cranks video playlist, linked here and also in the description below. So in keeping with this philosophy, I rotated my saddles from flat to right down. After my second surgery, once I could get back onto my AFOS, I set my power saddle up with an incline of 8 degrees from back to front, noting that it does have a little kick up at the rear. This really allowed me to get much lower into the drops and feeling remarkably aero for me. But I still felt like my new hips had a little more to give. So I rolled the saddle on my SL7 tarmac to 10 degrees nose down, and that felt amazing. For my own experience, there is no way in the world I would ever let a client leave my bike fit studio with a 10-degree angle of nose down on their saddle. But here I am, living in Aero-Topia with 2 artificial hips and a steep saddle angle. So what? Why the big fuss? Why is this such an advantage? Being able to tip your hips much further forwards on your bike saddle and lean your torso into a more aggressive angle reduces your frontal surface area, therefore your air resistance while riding will be lower. Aerodynamics is a complex topic involving more than just surface area, but it's a safe bet that being able to lower your shoulders 10 centimeters will help your body slice through the air on your bike. So on the flats, you can hold higher speeds with the same power, and on descents, you can reach a higher speed without pedaling, both of which improve performance. What about climbing? Well, with this new hip angle, the gluteal muscles are in a better position to produce force. So climbing ability should be at least the same as before, if not better. Previously, I've made a video on the reasons why pro riders angle their saddles down on big climbing days to optimize muscle activation, recruitment, and power output. You should be able to see the link to that video here. If not, I'll put the link also in the description below. Okay, so it's not all beer and Skittles. There are a few downsides which should serve as a warning if you want to try a greater saddle angle. As you lean, your upper body center of gravity will move forwards, so you will definitely have more load on your hands. This makes it more likely that you'll feel pressure discomfort here and potentially a greater chance of developing hand numbness. And if you're trying for a super aero position of hands on the hoods with your elbows bent, this greatly increases the workload on your triceps muscles, which will get tired and sore much more quickly. You'll need to decide for yourself if these trade-offs are worth it. For me, I do upper body weights and I've tolerated the hand and arm loading quite well. I have good quality padded gloves and thick bar tape, and I don't usually get hand numbness. So here's where I've landed. The 0 to 2 degree saddle angle guideline isn't wrong, but it shouldn't be a universal law either. If you cycle more for pleasure and fitness, and you're not so worried about performance and Strava KOMs, then maybe sticking to the old advice is still the best policy. But if you value performance, speed, and race results, then maybe a steeper saddle angle is the right choice. If you have the hip mobility, upper body strength, no weird nerve problems in your hands or numbness, you might benefit from tilting your saddle more aggressively. Looking back, I honestly think I did some of my racing clients a disservice by not testing a steeper saddle angle during bike fits. For me, my 2 new titanium hips unlocked a position that is faster, more efficient, yet still comfortable. And that's the real art of bike fitting, to adjust the bike to the rider and the rider's goals, not forcing every rider into the same mold. Since making this change, I've been tracking my speed and power data in my new position, and the results are very encouraging. I'll share these in a future video coming soon. In the meantime, I'd love to know, what is your saddle angle right now? Is your saddle tilt a little exotic? Have you ever tried a steeper tilt to get you into a more aero position? And what were the results? Did it help, or was it a disaster? If you've got some value from this video, please click the like button, maybe go for a subscribe as well, and turn on notifications so you'll know exactly when my next video comes out.